Welcome to New Year's. It has been raining or snowing since yesterday, and it's supposed to do that for the next 5 days. So there will be no outdoorsness for a while, especially climbing, because sandstone needs to dry for 24 to 48 hours. However, this is prime conditions for sitting at home and watching some climbing media. And I thought this might be a good time. What a way to start the year. First day of the year is the last season of Fresh Crow. So season 11 was kind of like a hodgepodge of a bunch of things that had collected in the archive. So episode 1 is going to be the old school trailer for the YouTube channel that we used to have, which doesn't exist anymore, as well as my old climbing rail. So check out some of the exploits and hijinks coming at you in this first episode of the original season 11.
What you want? Come on. What you want? Come on. What you want? Come on.
Episode 2 of season 11 is called Rehab and Training, and that's exactly what I had been doing for a couple years. If you've been following along, you know that I had a couple seasons off because I had a really big injury. So this was one of the things that we didn't really put out because we felt like some of the other videos already showed it, but this was one of the kind of training sessions where I had learned a lot from some different like PT and rehab people and was really trying to just get back into the climbing fitness. So enjoy the where I was back then. But it's okay. So because you can see my tendon is still damaged. So like this hand is flat, and this hand I have this big bump right here.
Yeah.
So I've been wrapping my hand so it protects my hand but also my wrist. So I used to box, and so we used to jump rope every day for 20 minutes. So I got used to jump roping, so for me it's to jump rope 10-20 minutes is not a big deal, but it's good for climbing because it's shoulders and all the jumping it's on your calves, and when you're climbing you're standing on your toes all the time, so you need your calves to be really strong. I like training barefoot because it makes my feet strong. It's nice, you can listen to music or put the TV on or something, like if you're running, especially in LA, there's traffic and everything. It's unless you have a park, it's not very nice to go run on the sidewalk. You can jump rope like this, both feet, or one at a time. You can step through, alternate. So obviously each one of these would work your feet differently. You have a lot of movement here, so it works your forearm, and you can see it's working my arm too. The other good reason to jump rope barefoot is if you hit your foot with the jump rope, it really hurts, and it teaches you to jump rope correctly because you don't ever want to hit your foot again. In boxing, you do a lot of leg drills because if someone is punching, you have to get underneath it. So I kind of incorporate that in my climbing because, again, it's a way to get a really good leg workout. I'm left-handed, so when I do boxing squats, my left hand and my left foot are back. If you're right-handed, you do the opposite. But our coach always wanted us to be balanced, so I do all three. Left hand boxing, right hand boxing, and then they call sumo squats. So your feet are really wide and you bring your elbows to your knees. So like regular squats, and then lunges like this. Because in boxing we used to do everything to 100. That's why I do everything to 100. But it's also good because in climbing, you're climbing for a long time. Like most other sports, like if you're running, you're only running so far and you stop. Even if you're distance running, it's an hour and that's it. But if you're going climbing, you might climb for 10 hours. So you have to have all that endurance to be able to do it for all day long. And you might be going expedition and you go climbing for like a month. So there's not really any other sports. Even marathoning. If you're a slow marathoner, you run your 26 miles, it might take you 6 hours. But if you're going to go do a big wall, it might take you 80 hours. So to be able to do that for 4 or 5 days long is a whole different level. These are the hard ones for me.
For everyone.
Yeah. But I did 20 before, so I did 15. The other thing makes this hard is by keeping your head up all the time. It makes your neck work, which is good for climbing because you always have a helmet on and your head is heavy. So when you're belaying, you're always like this, and the helmet, your head's really heavy. So by doing all these exercises with your head up, it makes your neck, you get used to having that extra weight. you shouldn't do static stretching like this unless you're warm. So you're breathing hard, you're sweating a little bit, you know, 5 to 10 minutes of cardio or weights or something. But then there's like what they call ballistic stretching or movement stretching. So you're doing more like just you're moving, you know, things like this. It's just a way to, you're not really stretching so much, you're just getting your body warmed up, moving. So usually I'll jump rope for 5 or 10 minutes, then I do a couple minutes of this, and it just gets my body used to moving. Especially if I'm working out every day, I get really tight. So it just gets me ready to do the movement for the workout. Now that I'm warm, that's now when I stretch, because you won't damage your muscles. You don't need to be like a yogi, but just basic flexibility is important. No, this is easier this way, and then when you bring your weight forward, it stretches your calves more. And then for the back, you can just do these, it's very easy. So I'm taking my hips and going back this way. Episode 3 of season 11 is one of the tech tips. This one was about anchor building, and as you can see, I was pretty much in injury land still, considering my arm is in a literal sling, like a climbing sling, because my shoulder and elbow were so injured. But enjoy this tech tip from way back in the day, shot by El Jefe, which you may remember seeing him in previous seasons. And if not, go back and watch them now. Hi, welcome to another tech tip. Today we're going to go over some basic principles on traditional anchor building. So every anchor is comprised of the same components. You've got the protection in the rock, you've got a carabiner on each piece, you have a cordlet or slings, you have another set of carabiners, and you have the rope. We're going to break these down and show you a couple tips on each part. So in this video, we're not going to go into any detail about what protection is in or how to place it. This is simply an overview about the basic principles of anchor building. But you always want to have a minimum of 3 pieces of gear in the rock. And in each one, you're going to place a carabiner. You always want to ensure that when you place the carabiner, the gate is out away from the rock. That way, if the carabiner is hitting the rock, you're not hitting the gate and it's not opening. Simple way to place that, put the nose of the carabiner in, flip it, then the gate will be out and the spine is against the rock. So the next piece in the chain is the cordlet. Cordlet is a 15 to 20 foot piece of accessory cord, usually 7 or 8 mils. I just picked up a great tip from Chris Mack at Super Topo. I always used to tie my cord in one big long loop. And he suggests not doing that. You simply tie a knot in both ends. I found it to be very useful because it enables me to easily separate it, or you just clip the 2 ends together and it acts just like if you had it tied in a loop. What you're gonna do is clip the cordlet into one piece of protection, take the other end, clip in the opposite piece of protection, take a loop, put it through the middle one. You're then going to equalize all 3 of these, like so. tie a figure 8 on a bite. And it gives you a master point. Now the reason you do this is if any one of these pieces fail, the other two pieces are still equalized. The other two pieces are still equalized. So the next section is attaching carabiners to the master point. That's where your rope's going to connect. You can use non-lockers, you can use lockers, or you can use both. The most important thing is to ensure when you put the carabiners on that the gates are opposed. And by that, I mean that they open in opposite directions. You do not want them opening in the same direction, because then something could fall in or out. So, put a carabiner on, flip it over, put a second carabiner on, flip that over, and make sure that they have gates pointing in opposite directions so that they cannot open together. So the last part is to attach the rope. You need to take your two carabiners, so you have to put it in opposite sides of the carabiner in order to get them in there. And there's your anchor setup, complete with your rope. So here we are in a different setup with different protection in the rock, but as you'll see, all the components are the same. So we have carabiners flipped so the gates are out. We have a cordlet attached and equalized. We have a master point tied off, and we have carabiners with gates opposed with the rope attached. Have fun, practice your skills, happy climbing. More tech tips in this next episode. This is on how to coil and carry a rope, and it's funny, I had known a backpacker coil for a long time, and just learning the simple mountaineer's coil where you could drape it over your backpack was really helpful, and I found a lot of people didn't know that either, so I was like, let's go out and shoot it. Here it is. Today's tech tip is about different ways to coil and carry a rope. So the first version of the coil we're going to do today is the butterfly coil or the backpacker's coil. Now when I was initially taught this, I was taught you have a mess of rope, you find the ends, you flake out the rope until you get to the middle. As you do, you get all the coils and the knots and the mess out of the rope. So once you found the middle marker of the rope, you then start to butterfly it over your shoulders. Some people like to use their thumb in the loop. Doesn't matter. You're just gonna put it over your shoulders like that. And you take the next section, put that over your shoulders. And you keep going till you get back to the ends of the rope. So now I've got a little bit of slack here. I've got the ends of my rope neatly draped over my shoulders. I'm gonna take one loop off so I have some extra rope. Take the rope off your shoulders, taking care to make sure the loops are approximately the same length. Drape it over your arm, put your hand through. You're gonna bring the tails around the main section of the rope 2 or 3 times. You're then going to put the rope in your hand that's through the coil. Pull a loop through like this. Put the tail through that loop. And what that does is it locks that rope off, and now you have a tied coil of rope. Now we're going to turn this into a little backpack. Throw the rope over your back. And then you can either bring it straight back, go over top of the rope, bring it around to the front. Easy thing to do is just tie a square knot. And literally you've made a backpack out of the rope. So we're back with a different version of the butterfly / backpack coil. The first one I showed you,
you got a mess of rope. You take the ends, you flake the rope out until you get to the middle, and then you butterfly coil it. The nice thing about that is the rope is flaked as you're coiling it. The bad thing is you have to go through the rope twice. An easier, faster way is you simply take the ends, throw out 1 or 2 arm lengths, and then you just immediately begin butterfly coiling the rope without having to go all the way to the middle. Again, drape it over your arm, put the tail around 2 or 3 times, pull it through, put the tail through that loop to lock it off. There's your butterfly coiled rope. Put it over your back, tie it off with a square knot. If your tails are too long, you can put them through the end and or tie another square knot just to keep that out of the way. Same end result. If your rope is really knotted up, it might behoove you to flake out the whole thing, butterfly coil it from the middle, that way the rope isn't tangled. If the rope isn't very tangled, just start at the ends and you don't have to flake it out first. Now let's say you want to backpack your rope, but you're actually wearing a backpack. How best to transport this rope other than carrying it or throwing it over like this? Now you can try and literally backpack it. As you can see, it's seated. The only issue is that rope is going to slide around on your backpack. Sometimes it can slide off to the side, sometimes it'll drop down. It's a little bit more of a pain in the butt. An easier way is to simply offset it, put it on one side of the backpack, then you do the same thing. Now it's right close to you. You know the rope's gonna stay there. You can even hold it. If you're going through brush, you can pick the bottom of the rope up. It's not gonna get tangled on anything, but you don't have to carry it and it's not gonna fall off because it's right there at your side. The only issue with this is if you're doing a lot of movement, it's very easy for this to slide off your shoulder and then the rope starts to move around and now you have a little bit of a problem. So a very easy way to carry the rope when you have a backpack on is to have the more traditional mountaineer's coil instead of a butterfly coil. So the butterfly coil, you bring the rope around that way. With the mountaineer's coil, you bring the rope around the middle, this way. Make as many loops as you need. You take the tails, run them through your last loop, pull it tight, it loops the rope like this. A very easy way to carry a rope when you have a pack on, take that coiled section in the middle, literally drape it over your pack. It just sits right on the top, and the rope will hug your body on both sides of the pack. The really nice thing about this is, A, it's very easy to get the rope on and off. B, you don't have to try and get the rope around you. And you also don't have to have the weight of the rope on the outside of the pack or one side of you or the other, which when you're hiking around doing a lot of scrambling can make you off balance. One negative is, of course, the rope can just fall off of you. But for ease of use and transport, if you do have a big pack, or especially if you have a haul bag or something that extends up above you, just do a mountaineer's coil, literally put it over your shoulders, the rope will rest right here. Very easy to get on and off. So depending on what you're doing, if you don't have a pack on, build a backpack out of the rope using a butterfly coil, literally tie it around you. If you do have a pack on, you might want to use a mountaineer's coil instead. It's much more comfortable.
Some of you cool kids may know that I went to film school in Australia, and while I was there for 2.5 years or so, my buddy Paul we had a assignment called a microdoc, which was a short documentary, 5 minutes or less and it had to be on a person, not like a thing or a place or something. And so I was the international rock climber. And so my buddy Paul was like, hey, I want to do a documentary on you. I don't know anything about climbing. And so this episode is that microdoc. So thank you, Paul, for featuring me. And I hope you get to enjoy seeing some of the thunder down under from Australia in this one.
Well, I like climbing. I love to train and like run and jump and twist and flip and do all that kind of stuff. And I love watching movies. I love hanging out with people and like going and having adventures. But I also love to just like sit in the computer and like write. I mean, I have a writing background, so I could write all day and love it. So
Tell me about.
is that 5?
Tell me about.
It's funny because like I've been climbing for half my life, so it's and the older I get, the more it's gonna be like someday when I'm 50, I'll have been climbing for like 35 years, and I've been climbing for longer than I've been alive, or the majority of my life. It's like that. It's funny, I think when people go, oh, what do you do, and people say what they do for a job, and like, well, that's your job, that's not what you do. Like, what do you do? And so when people ask me what I do, I'm like, well, I'm a rock climber, that's what I do. Please, like, you need to travel around the world, and you need to like go do shit, and you need to go do shit by like going there. You can't just be like, oh, I watched the movie, oh, I read the book, oh, I met someone that went there. You need to take $100 and be like, I'm gonna be gone for 3 months. Like, you need to do that because you're gonna figure out how the world works and how you work and what you need and what you don't need and what you want and what you don't want. And you need to be in situations you're like, how the fuck did I get in this situation? And more importantly, how the fuck am I gonna get out of this situation? Every time that I watch a movie, I'm like, I need to make movies. Even if it's a bad movie. And I was like, fuck, I need to make movies. Like, I don't care if I'm that guy. I don't care what I am. Like, I need to be a part of movies. I'm a very all or nothing person, and I was like, I'm going to commit to film school, and that's it. I'm going to Australia to do film school, and that's what I'm doing. And I'm gonna put 5 years into the next 2 years. I'm gonna get as much out of it as possible. And the easiest way to do that is to go, I don't have to worry about working because I don't need to worry about money because I don't need to worry about rent. So I could either get an apartment and have to get a job and be like, and then I can't afford a car and what the fuck do I do? Or I just get a shitty van and live in that and then I'm done and everything's handled. You need somewhere where you can store your stuff. There it is, this is my closet, that's my dresser, this is my bed. Done. I'm a rock climbing filmmaker.
Say it again.
I'm a rock climbing filmmaker.
One more time.
I'm a rock climbing filmmaker.
Thank you. Now,
Sorry, you didn't really get to ask any questions. I just kind of went.
This episode features a fun challenge, which is the 100 pull-up challenge. And I remember getting a lot of flack on this because people were like, those aren't real pull-ups or whatever. And I like to remind people, like, when you're doing a challenge like this, you're not doing it so that you can say like, oh, I did a perfect rep or whatever. The goal is to basically have fun, play a game, and see if you can do 100 push-ups or 100 bodyweight squats or 100 pull-ups or whatever it might be. So if something like that speaks to you, go out and try it. And if you do want to make it better, please do. But there's a lot of different ways. Like my brother does CrossFit, and they do a lot of like kipping, kipping pull-ups and things like that, which I don't do, but it's like, that's their version. So whether it's the pull-ups or anything else, go find yourself a challenge, go get a park or a gym or something and go in there and, bang some of the stuff out. And if it's a nice challenge to do, especially with a buddy, sometimes that friendly competition can be really helpful. And if not, you kind of learn like, well, that's not for me. Either way, go train hard, go climb hard, have fun, be safe.
So I'm going to be doing a pull-up workout today. It's going to be my first time in a long time doing this individual training session. And one of the things that they say kind of like in the climbing world is that you should be able to do 100 pull-ups before you start doing some more involved training. So a good rule of thumb is if you can do 100 pull-ups in less than an hour, then you're probably at a good base fitness. So I don't remember if it was March or may have been last winter, the last time I did this workout, but I was able to do it in about 15 or 16 minutes. So I'm going to try and, my goal today is 20 minutes or under, but we'll see how we do. So I'm going to do 10 sets of 10 with a minute rest and check in at the end and let you know where I'm at. Is that a go?
Yep.
Get longer the longer I go. So next one's a two-part. You do the bottom half, and then you do the next set. You do only the upper half. So then you're working on what they call lock-offs. Then the next set you do just the top halves. ended up with 14:36, which is about 5 minutes faster than I thought. And I think that's actually my new record because I haven't broken 15 minutes before. So as you can see, I tried to do a bunch of different kinds of pull-ups because A, it works different parts of your shoulders, but also allows you to kind of rest. So this way is more bicep and this way is more lat. So you do a set this way and then you do a set this way, you can still go without having to rest as much. Try and always stay to a minute rest in between sets. So the time comes from being fitter so that your sets take less time. So you can see like my last set, I was only able to do 1 or 2 pull-ups at a time, and I would have to drop down and then switch to a different style. Once I get fitter, it'll be, I can do my 10th set in a set of 10 without stopping, just like I did my first set. And that'll enable that to get shorter, even though I'm still doing a 1 minute rest in between. And then eventually I'll be able to do less than a minute rest in between, 45 seconds, 30 seconds. And someday I'll be able to break 10 minutes. But for right now, I'm going to just start off with doing 100 pull-ups just in a day. And if you can do that easily, then the next goal should be able to break 100 pull-ups in an hour. And once you get from there, or get to there, then it's just a matter of 50 minutes, 40 minutes, 30 minutes. And then eventually you might be able to break your record and have a new record just like I did today.
Now, don't get worried. We are not ending this early. However, episode 7 is the final episode of this first part. I haven't said this before, but bonus, you're getting 2 parts to season 11 because episode 8 is a full-length episode in and of itself. But we're going to get into that in part 2. But this is the final episode of part 1 of season 11, and this is about a secret spot that I have with some friends in Yosemite, and I really encourage you all to find your own secret spot where you love to hang out and get away from everything, whether it's a camping spot or a hiking spot or a skinny dipping spot or whatever it is. But go get your people and get out to that spot and have a great time. Thanks for watching. Please like, share, subscribe, go to the Patreon and help with supporting the show. It's really valuable, and I encourage you all to share your adventures with me because I'd love to see what you're doing. And stay tuned for the final episode, season 11 part 2, coming soon. Hello, true believer. MFSB back again with another Yosemite adventure. This one is the Yosemite secret spot. And I wanted to, so before I get into this, so there's a lot of photos in this, and I wanted to try to show the progression of the sunrise. So just deal with a lot of the subtle jump in, I'm holding the camera in my hand and it goes up or down, or the photo is brighter or darker because I was changing settings. I apologize for that, but I didn't have any video, so I'm just trying to give you the illusion of watching the sunrise. But anyway, so I go to Yosemite a lot, and my friend Anouk showed me several seasons ago the secret spot, and it's my default camping spot. And for those of you who don't know, in the valley, if you're in the valley, then you have to have a designated camping spot. So whether that's Curry Village or Housekeeping Camp or Camp 4, whatever it is, you have to make a reservation and you have to stay there. You can't camp in your car. You can't camp in the woods. All that is considered out of bounds camping, and if you're found, you will be ticketed, and it's very expensive, and you do not want to pay that fine, because also you'll then be on the radar of the rangers, and they will ensure that if you don't have a place to go, that you will have to leave the park, and then it's trip over. So, as is often the case, I drive out to the valley
after work and I get there in the middle of the night and I don't have to worry about what do I do because I'm not in the valley. I use that loophole to my advantage. I hike 15 minutes and then I scramble 15 minutes and then I'm way up on the rock, on a ledge, not in the valley because I'm on the rock. So thank you, Nanook, for showing me that, because although yes, you need to put everything in a pack and probably you want to hike up there in your approach shoes, you can have this amazing view and you get to look at the column and you get to look at Half Dome and you're above everyone else, and so you get to see the amazing stars. It's a little inconvenient because obviously if you're in Camp 4, you can walk to the bathroom in the middle of the night and get water and throw trash away and food is in your bear box and you have to get something from your car. You can just walk over and grab it. But I'd much rather spend 30 minutes getting up there and 30 minutes getting back down and have this. Also, so I was up there with Nanook and my new friend Rachel on this trip, who she graciously agreed to sit in and model for me, so to speak. And I should also say, I'm actually using Rachel's camera. So I'm a film guy, so I know how to frame well, but I'm not a camera guy, so I never run the camera. I have someone else run the camera for me. So the only camera I use is my phone, and it's literally just point and shoot. So I was trying to figure out how to use someone else's camera, as well as being ignorant about how to set a camera up. But anyway, we had a great time. The other thing I should say is the good bad thing about sleeping out on the ledge is you will get up when the sun gets up. So yes, you might have gotten in the valley at midnight, but you're up at 6 because that's when the sun rises. So you are probably going to want to take advantage of the sun and a long day anyway. But if you want to sleep in, getting a tent might be a better option. But regardless, I suggest everyone find a secret spot, whether it's in the valley, Joshua Tree, or your backyard. Find your own secret spot. Get your friends, get a camera, get some food, go up there and have the time of your lives. And of course, as always, have fun and climb safe.
Yeah. Pretty sweet. Okay. Yeah. Jake, a little bit. What? Okay. Yes, Jake. Heavily. What? No. Yeah. The end.